So, Civvy, you think you're an operator. I think I am too. But we're not. Not really. I know us all dream of blowing in a door and smoking every enemy insurgent inside, but your chances of being processed into pink Swiss cheese greatly outweigh the possibility of you and a stack of 4 or 6 tactical chads or trads successfully clearing any structure during the dark days. However, that doesn't mean that we don't need to know exactly what we should have on us if we find ourselves in a situation that calls for raining hate on an enemy fob and looting all of their precious thingies that we want or need. With that being said, trads, doomers, and gentle chads, welcome to Valkyrie Research, and I'm going to be breaking down my particular plate carrier and the role which I built this out for, and I will also be discussing the intended purpose of what each item on it does and what it serves, with a couple of skits or rants to top it off, of course. Before we do though, if you enjoy my content and would like to see more in the future, please be sure to like this video, share it with your boys and girls, and subscribe before you go about your day. So, for starters, why do we need body armor? Well, for one, because we can, and it's cool. 2, it gives us a round 2 in the fight if we so happen to dodge a smoking from an incoming round that miraculously hit one of your plates. Aside from a few broken ribs and second guesses on your intel that almost put you on a t-shirt, ballistics protection has proven to be a high commodity item that's grown in popularity since the Summer of Love. And there's good reason for that, which is obvious. Now you can go about body armor ownership in 3 ways. One of them involves getting steel plates sprayed with Gucci truck liner and a carrier that you saw on an overdone YouTube ad. If you're in that camp, you're fucking stupid. The second way involves getting good plates in a carrier and running it slick. There's zero problem in going about it that way, as it is a passive form of protection that has no prerequisite for owning a firearm already for the body armor to provide full protective efficacy. The third happens to be the most popular and useful in IMO, the most fun. And that's building a carrier out with tools that complete a specified task. Tasks which are derived from the role that you, the individual, may find yourself filling either in a team environment or, if you're like me because I don't get along with anyone and I have no friends, in a Ghost Recon 2 style lone wolf operation that will either get me killed, turn me into a prisoner of war, or give me crippling PTSD. If you are this far into the video, I'll wager that most of you are in Camp 3. However, I will be covering slick use and kitted up use just so those who are only looking for solutions, guidance, or answers to a squeaky clean slick setup, you're covered. And to keep you all entertained, here's a puppy. And eyes back up here. For the next couple of minutes, I'm going to cover a streamlined, minimalist, or slick rig that I can confidently say will give you all of the ballistic protection that you will need, as well as highlighting the companies that make these so that you, the consumer, can be assured that your money is being invested into quality, life-sustaining equipment. Let's jump into it first by moving all of this shit aside. Okay, so this is the closest that we can get, at least with what I have available to me, to the most, I guess, base level for this plate carrier. For starters, the plate bags themselves, these fancy things right here, the carrier itself. This is a Faro Concepts Slickster. This is actually their newer model with the laser cut molly. There are a lot of people out there who will protest against it or who absolutely love it. They have a version of it with the standard molly, which works just as effectively as this does. However, my only thing from previous experience running standard molly is routing things like this or this right here is kind of a pain in the ass because you got all this crap to get through and then you have to fight it out. So, but ultimately, laser cut versus standard molly is mostly a personal preference. For me though, As long as I'm able to loop stuff through it to put things onto it, then I'm not really complaining. Either works. The cummerbund I actually just got recently. This is a T-Rex Arms cummerbund. This is technically for their AC 1-plate carrier. However, because of the way that it is designed, you can put these on the Ferro Concepts slicksters. This will not work. I repeat, this will not work for the Spiritus Systems LV119, the overt and the covert, because they use shock cable to basically marry these two together and keep it from moving around, which works. A lot of companies do it that way. However, I like the simplicity of Velcro. I can literally just slap those two together right there. And then Ferro Concepts has the Velcro section on the back underneath the front plate bag pouch or pocket, whatever you want to fucking call it. And then you just put that dead center, marry it to that section, and then get under here, flip this under. All of this is loop. This is all hook right here. ASMR. And then there you go. And then obviously, like any plate carrier that is of this similar construction, which most are these days, which makes it easy, you literally just slap, and you're ready to go raiding. Now, 2 more things I will go into this plate carrier while it is in this configuration are the plates and the plate backers. To remove the plates, it's literally the same on both sides. Hook and loop. And you obviously saw the other side. And in here, I'm running Hesco L210s. There's the data right there. These are a special threat plate, which means these aren't level 3, level 3A, or level 4. Hesco has their own set of parameters that they test to. And they're awesome. I picked these up, and these plate backers from, obviously, T-Rex Arms. I'm a massive fan of them. They make good stuff. I like it. These plates will cost you about $350-ish, roughly. At the time I was purchasing them, they had them on a massive discount. So, if you're looking for your first set of plates, I highly recommend these. These are not light, but not hefty. And they are rated up to 762 by 39 API, which basically just means they'll stop rounds. And this is the same for the front and back side. These are single curve plates. As you can see, they have a slight curve to them, which makes it a little bit more comfortable to wear against your body, since it does kind of conform to the natural curvature of your torso. There are multi-curve plates out there, which go a step further than the single curve. They also curve, how would I do this? They also curve like that way. So they have like a, I don't know, an internal curve from the top and bottom. For those of you who have boobies, like myself, those are far more comfortable than this. However, this is what I have to go with right now. And you know what? I'm pretty complacent with it. And we're going to take that plate backer, put it back to the rear side of the plate. These are non-ballistic, so they will not stop a bullet, and you're stupid if you believe so. Plate backers are to make wearing this a bit more comfortable. I think it's like 30 bucks for the pair, which is kind of stupid. But you can easily get some EVA foam off of Amazon for substantially cheaper and do the same thing yourself. I know there are also companies like, I can't remember who manufactures the Ice Plate Exo, but they have their own proprietary system where you can Velcro their ice vents onto the inner portions of the plate carrier, and that will give you space between your body and the plate carrier to allow airflow. They're also made of a super high-tech, super scientific, like anti-microbial, maximum cooling material that ice vents put a lot of ice vents. I think that's the name. I'm not too sure. That they had put a ton of research into, which I thought was cool. Here at Valkyrie Research, we love the research and the data section of everything, so we like that. But considering that's heading towards the outskirts of this video in terms of relevance, we're going to continue moving forward. So this cummerbund has, like the Ready Rig, which I will be doing a video on later on, has on, and this is on both sides, so this is the same bilaterally. There's a small pouch, a medium pouch, and a large pouch. You can fit various different things inside of those pouches, but I will warn you now from personal experience, do not put pistol mags in these. I would even go as far as to say don't put them in these either, because they are roughly this. Oh, what is going on here? These are, I think, roughly the same size as these, if not the exact same. Yeah, they're like the exact same. So, because they don't have any second or third degree of retention, pistol mags, which do have a little bit of girth to them compared to a pair of shears, a knife, and a TQ, they will eventually slide out if you're moving and training in unconventional shooting positions. The second pouch holds things roughly the size of a standard Stay Mag magazine. I like to carry one right here for my fourth. Because it is opposite to my support hand, I can cross over and get this out. For me, that's a little bit easier. Always listen to what your body is more inclined to do, as in where are your hands naturally going when you're reaching for stuff. It's just a little bit easier on my shoulders because I have two very fucked rotator cuffs to rotate in this way to defeat it from this pouch. So it just takes a little bit of strain off of my shoulders, and I don't have to fight as hard to, defeat my range of motion to get a magazine out from that side, because biomechanics. And then this large pouch, TRX Arms likes to advertise that this is great for an IFAK. Yes and no, depending on how round your, and I know it's a very, I guess, nuanced way to go about, describing this, but depending on how, thick, I guess, your IFAK is, this is going to be a very bad idea. Again, because this doesn't have a secondary system for retention, that thing will squeeze itself out like a tube of honey, and you're going to be losing shit. So, something to take into consideration. However, this is great for things of this size, of this nature, like this Right in the Rain, electrical tape, things like that, administrative items, so to speak. And then, these shoulder straps, there's a lot of controversy on the internet around these, but I personally kind of forgot about it once I had this entire thing set up for my body size. I know a lot of people like having some kind of easily accessible adjustment to make on-the-fly extensions or reductions based on what clothing you're wearing. Because I typically run this underneath a lot of my puffier, heavier jackets anyways, I have had no reason to do that. So after I set it, it was time to forget it. And ever since then, it's worked out for me. So just something to keep in mind. These you have to literally, with the little plastic, like, rectangular tool that they have, it's literally a piece of plastic that's like this big by like that big. With that, you have to go in and you keep it in between these two sections of hook and loop, and you kind of just feed them in and out. I think my tool is still hidden in this back plate bag, but honestly, I'm not growing anymore. I mean, that way maybe as I get older, but yeah. So this is, in my opinion, one of the better slick setups to run. However, the only caveat to that is Ferro Concepts, they like to pull a fast one on you, just like Spirit Systems does. I don't know any other companies that do this, but I think it's kind of stupid. But from a marketing perspective, I get it. When you purchase this, again, this cummerbund's not going to come with it. So you're quite literally off the website going to get, and this is the cheaper route to go, you are going to receive the plate bags alone. I'm not going to take the plates out because I don't have the patience to do so, but just to give you guys an idea, if you do intend on purchasing this plate carrier in particular, when you get it in the mail, it's just going to come like this. Obviously, again, without the ballistic protection and the plate backers. So you will have to do a little bit of research into what cummerbund you want to run. There are many different types that fill multiple different purposes. There's ones like these. These ones are very common and almost ubiquitous across almost any plate carrier at this point. This is almost what you see come standard, is an elastic cummerbund similar to this. Obviously the cells might be shaped a little bit differently. Most of them are roughly the same size all the way across, and then there's the T-Rex one that has the, you know, the small, medium, and large on both sides. You can get some more custom ones. I know, what's it? Can't remember the brand name, but they're a nylon shop that makes products for Ferro, Slicksters, the LV119s, and I think a couple of others. I know they do things for Cry as well. But they have a cummerbund, and I wish they had it in this style, because I would have purchased that over this. They have cummerbunds where I think it's either the back ones or the front ones have the external shock cord retention bands that go over it, and then the other ones don't. Or it's vice versa. I really don't know. I think that is an ingenious design. I think that really helps solve a lot of the problems that this style of cummerbund provides. As I had mentioned before, things from radios being squeezed, I don't know. And pistol mags jettisoning themselves. So, aside from jettisoning problems and really nothing else, this particular setup I really like. I've had it in this configuration, I think, aside from this. I was using my Ready Rig as the cummerbund for this for, I think, a majority, if not this entire thing's existence, before about 2 weeks ago. And it works. Don't really have anything else to say about it. So now I'm going to build this thing back up into its standard configuration, and I will explain why I have everything on here that I do. Let's get into it. So this right here is probably one of my more favorite things on this entire setup, aside from this, but we'll get into that. This is The T-Rex Arms 5.56 shingle, I'm pretty sure by now they have the 7.62 one. I've been pretty out of the loop when it comes to caliber-sized shingles and stuff, at least the offerings from T-Rex, because I've been busy dealing with all the other little necessary components to my setup. So, this holds 3 standard 5.56 magazines in the front, and then you have these 2 wings right here to hold a plethora of different items. Like I mentioned a little bit ago, you can carry pistol mags in these. While I personally don't recommend it, you definitely can. But in my instance, I have a cat tourniquet by North American Rescue on my support side, and then I have a pair of shears. And then this is a Cold Steel, I think this is a mini tack. It's a really nice knife. I've had this for years. I actually stole this off of a friend. Friend, if you're watching this, I appreciate the gift. I have the sheath just wrapped in about 3,000 square miles of electrical tape. And I have just a holster clip on here so that I can move it from the plate carrier onto a belt if I really needed to. However, the entire purpose of this on the plate carrier itself is more for if I can't get to my side gun and I don't have any way to, for whatever reason, use my long gun. This is used as either a space saver or just as a perforating device, whether it be for 2-legged, 4-legged creatures or anything else in between. The Wendigo, the Boogeyman, Skinwalkers, everything that we're afraid of. They were afraid of this. And then the shears, obviously these are for more medical related tasks. These aren't the most incredible quality ones. These came out of a first aid kit that I had laying around, and I decided to just throw these onto here because I appreciate taking the role of a medical provider. I've had a good amount of education in my past. I'm working on reacquiring my EMT certification. So medicine, especially combat medicine, something I like to focus on quite a bit. And this literally just exists back here. And this is for removing clothes if I need to search a wound site for the wound itself, whether if it's junctural, if you guys have a basic understanding of what a pair of medical shears are for, then obviously you'll understand. But for my viewers who don't, if you're one of those people that, you're walking into this pretty blind, this is to cut off clothes so that you can see the boo-boo a little bit better. And then obviously this is for stopping the bleed, and these are for making them bleed. So I like the Velcro. I like the simplicity of it. When I have the entire shingle emptied, the benefit to this is if I needed to go slick at a moment's notice and a fuck ton of 5.56 was not in the arrangement, then I can literally throw this on here just like that, and then it's slick. It does have a little bit of bulge, like a third of an inch, but that's not gonna do you too much harm if you've got yourself squared away. At least squared away where running a slick carrier actually works and functions the way it should. I have to sit here and remember which way I pull out magazines. So it's always fun taking a pause and figuring that out. Now I am aware that just sticking the knife in here in a rather tight sheath is not going to do me very good, especially if I need to get this out. Ripping it out literally is going to tear the entire thing out. However, I did have 550 cord looped from the eyelet and tied around here, but I was experimenting with a couple of different things with this, so it has since been off. Just as a side note. This is my second favorite thing. This is actually designed to go onto belt kit. This is like a Med 1 knockoff. I've had this for a little over a year at this point, and I don't know why everyone's bashing on airsoft gear these days. Like, this thing, it's held up. I have rolled around in dirt. I have shot prone. I have shot from vehicles. I have done a lot of things that all you tactical nerds do, because I'm a tactical nerd myself. But for airsoft gear, I understand there is a massive frowny face put upon the term airsoft gear, and my argument to that is, if as long as you are reasonable with what you are, I guess, supplementing your kit with, especially if it's airsoft kit, then you can get away with a lot of things, like this. It holds my medical supplies. It's made of the same materials. The only real downside to it is it was made by cheap Chinese labor. But cheap Chinese labor doesn't always mean bad quality. So it's one thing I think a lot of tactical nerds need to get out of their heads. However, that's not an excuse to get quality equipment, because obviously this is being hosted on a fair concept slickster. This cummerbund is quality, but it's also only like $50. So, like, come on. So this fourth magazine is kind of like my oh shit mag on my top kit, my first line kit. I would generally have an emergency reload on my belt. That's my first uh-oh mag. And then this would be mostly for if this is empty, this is empty, this is empty, and one of my guns empty. I have it on this side specifically because body mechanics are awesome. I don't have to try to rip something out from this side when quite literally my shoulder, my elbow, my bones don't like going that high. So crossing over to the opposite side of my body gives my shoulders and elbows some more angles to work with so that I'm not struggling to get this thing out of here. Oh, and also, really quickly, before I get into these, I want to mention there is a little bit of combat philosophy that goes into why I have this where I have it. According to a lot of Green Beret practice and procedure, medical kit is generally put on the rear side, which I can do, which I will demonstrate. But the way it is explained through my research is, if I take a blow to the front, my medical is at the very least not compromised. You're more likely to take a blow to the front than you are the back. So, Green Berets, at least from everything that I have watched on the internet and YouTube, it's mostly Green Beret guys talking about this. I actually first sourced this from another YouTube channel. I'll annotate it over here. Cool guy. I really like the information that he puts out. He just happened to be the first one that I picked that little tidbit of knowledge from. So, however, because of the nature of this video, this channel, and me just as a prepared individual, my chances of taking a blow to the front are significantly reduced because I'm not a high-speed operator, despite my funny little witty intro, and that's something I'm not worried about. My primary focus is ease of use, ease of access, and I guess just preference. That front danglers look cool, so you always have to look cool when you're LARPing. Otherwise, you're just a nerd, and let's not be nerds or chin beards or fuds. We don't want those people around here. Now, the first question I'm probably going to ask, the first question I'm probably going to be asked is, does this affect my ability, or my cummerbund's ability to stay on my body, because it is now being occupied, like a good 2/3 of it is now being occupied by this, which does not have Velcro on the front. And I'm here to tell you, yes, it actually has never moved. So, that is anecdotal. I understand. But, you know what? I do what I want. And now, we all know what this is for. This is to talk to your friends. I have 2 channels set right now. I have Noah, and you're obviously not hearing anything because it's got this running through it, so it's not really picking up a good signal. Oh. Haha, I am now the antenna. Oh, I was. There we go. Yep. So I have Noah, the emergency weather service, channeled as my first one, because in an emergency, it's most likely going to be weather. The area that I've lived in has experienced some strange weather patterns, so being kept up when the potential of your mobile phone's weather service app not working, I can immediately flip this on and get all the intel that I need. Visit our website and weather. Yeah. And then the second one is my own personal frequency that I am currently running off of. A lot of plate carriers have issues with routing when it comes to communications, wires, etc. Honestly, just get creative. Like, it's really not that hard. You've got a whole bunch of home tools you can use to homebrew your own routing system. Zip ties are great. Electrical tape is great. Using the Molly on board is also great. What's not great is installing these fuckers. And this is the downside to laser cut, because it is actually kind of a pain to get in and out, but once you've got it all set up, then usually you won't have too many issues. This one goes all the way down to here. Ugh. God, I love fingering these holes. There we go. There we go. Radio 2 to Radio 1. How's my signal?
From Radio 1 to Radio 2, the signal's loud and clear.
Roger that. I'm out. Very nice. This is the second piece of airsoft equipment that I have on my plate carrier. Yes, you probably thought these were also Ferro Concepts. You are wrong. You are so wrong. And honestly, they're pretty nice. Yeah, they're fraying and shit, but that's what you get for Chinese engineering. But I'm willing to make sacrifices in places where I'm willing to make sacrifices. I've had these for, coming up on a year, and they work great. They actually, and this is my first piece of advice. If you're getting a slick carrier with straps like this, please, for the love of Odin, please put strap covers or some kind of padding on there, because this shit digs and it's not comfortable. This alone has saved my shoulders years and years of potential problems. So, and they also make routing really easy. And I'll show you. These are built very similarly to the Faro Concepts ones. There's a little piece of hook right here, and then there's loop under the straps on both sides. All you really have to do is shove that in there. It's going to be a little bit of a tight fit, but it helps give the entire carrier a bit more structure, so that's not a big problem. If anything, that's a plus. I'll flip that over, and then since the cable already wants to live here, we're not going to do anything with it. We're just going to slap that right over, and boom. Now that cable is retained. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. And there we go. Beautimous. Now your shoulders are saved. Merry Christmas. Now the last couple of items to complete this build. We're going to throw Sharpie in there, because I like drawing smiley things on everything. It is kind of weird shoving markers in here, because that. Yeah, he's a little long. That's okay. And then, alright, in the rain. You're technically not really supposed to use markers and pens with this, but pencils work great. That's going to go right here. This is great for collecting data, dope, writing something down, sweet message to your mama. Good stuff. Good stuff. And then electrical tape. And we're also going to put that in the same spot. Electrical tape is, I think, a little bit more Swiss Army-esque than duct tape is, because this you can wrap high heat stuff in. You can wrap electrical stuff in. That's something you don't necessarily want to do with duct tape. However, you can. Results may vary. And this is also good for taping down loose cables on a rifle, stuff on kit, broken stuff, boo-boos. Yeah, tape's great. Tape is just awesome to have. Now, with all that being said, those are the bits and pieces. What is this serving me for? Like, what role have I designated myself? Because this is a hodgepodge of a lot of stuff. There's also Guccier stuff that I could also have on here to make myself a bit more bougie. While those items are nice, i.e. one of those fancy phone cases right here if you're running ATAC, which I do. I could also have a whole headset set up with this, which I did until the Baofeng branded PTT completely gave out and it was not working with my earpiece system that I had going, but I do have that on the way, so I will update you guys on that. I'll probably make a dedicated video to that setup because I know there's a lot of very expensive ways to go about it, i.e. pair of pelts or Comtac 3s or whatever generation we're on, and then all of the super niche, super fancy, occasionally expensive plugs and PTTs you can get. But I'm an Amazon hoe. Do not get your shit off of Amazon. This is not an Amazon rig, aside from the two very minute, very, I guess, reasonable items to be supplemented with airsoft gear. But what is this doing for me? Like, if I were on a team element, if I was running that hypothetical Ghost Recon 2-esque operation that I'm probably going to die on because I put the setting on too high because life's hard, where would I be in this? Honestly, that's not the question we should be asking. What we should be asking is, in that role, what are jobs? What are our jobs? What essential things could we be doing? What situations would we find ourselves in? What can this cover? Well, for one, this can cover people breaking into my home. This can cover most vehicle-borne operations. This covers a lot of stuff. Basically, this is an assaulter kit at its core. This is something that I would probably be breaking down doors with. This is something I would be supporting a team with in a gunfight. More urban operation things. Anything that generally lasts anywhere between a couple hours to upwards of 8 hours. Because you have to remember, this is a hefty rig. Fully loaded. So, if I don't want to overspend myself, if I don't want to exert too much energy, then obviously opting in for a chest rig is probably more ideal. However, if you're getting shot, and this is my very, very, very big thing, is if I know I'm going into a situation, whatever it may be, that involves getting shot, like it is a known fact, bullets are flying, I want something between me and that. And that's where this comes in. This will cover most tasks. Quite simply, it's minimal enough that I don't have all the niche stuff that I don't know how to use and probably won't need a use for. Not so comprehensive enough where it will cover 95% of the things that I will need to do as a civilian. But it also gives me the opportunity to expand because I still have real estate. One of my long-term goals is to procure some breaching tools. Why do we need breaching tools? Well, why are you breaching in the first place? Why do I have this in the first place? Why do I have this in the first place? The answer is, I do what I fucking want. Breach pen would be nice to have right along here. It's a stick. I think it's about this long. And it quite literally shoots fire at the opposite end of it, and it burns so hot that it melts through chain link, chains, stuff like that. It is essentially a mobile blowtorch to cut your way through things. Say if someone's got themselves barricaded, locked, if you need to make entry to a site that has some degree of security present, and you're trying to make it a little bit more fast-paced, then something like, a lockpicking kit might work, bolt cutters might work, but if you're trying to keep things on your kit specifically, breach pen fits perfectly right here. They're super light. Another thing is that I don't see anybody prioritizing, and that's extraction, medical extraction. If you pay attention to Counting Coos video on the Espiritus System channel, he has an entire video dedicated to tubular nylon. I love tubular nylon for all the same reasons that he and teams do, and anyone else that has tubular nylon on them. So if you think about, tubular nylon and then, all the uses it gives you, you're 5 times more of the asset, because I can breach, I can do all the basic assaulter stuff, but I can also move people. And that's a big deal if you're working in a team. Because if your buddy gets shot, he can't fucking move. I'll tell you right now, that drag handle is not enough. It's not gonna be long enough for your body to have enough leverage to pull that guy out from where he is. And not only that, but you're also going to have to deal with the potential of having to pull him out and low crawl him out from suppressive fire and all that good shit. So you're not always going to be standing, and you're not always going to have the opportunity to stand yourself up in an upright position to move people. So tubular nylon, you can create hasty litters and stuff like that to extricate people. And you know what? They're just nifty things to have. Tubular nylon, good stuff. Now, would I ever run a back panel? No, because, well, backpacks are just as handy. Backpacks have usually more storage. Backpacks can also be removed. Now, you remove that backpack and you don't have access to it anymore. You lose all that shit. Well, welcome to modern gunfighting. So, that's just kind of how it is. Pick your poison. What are you willing to lose? What are you willing to gain? And who are you working with? Again, are you in a team element? Are you alone? These are things that really make or break how your kit turns out. Because I'm a sole individual. I don't work with people. I have friends I train with. And then there's my partner. And that's about it. So I don't set my stuff up specifically for team applications, because that's not something I would be doing. When shit does eventually hit, when shit hits the fan, yes, I am definitely going to die. I don't care. This is only supposed to get me as far as Odin has planned me to go. Now, with all of that being said, again, why do we have body armor? Why do we build it out the way that we do? And why is this carrier so awesome? Well, personal bias for one, because it's the only carrier I have owned and used, so I'm very familiar with it. 2, body armor stops bullets and it keeps you alive. And if you're one of those people, like some people, a lot of people that I know, that subscribes to the, well, if I'm getting shot, I might as well just get shot and die philosophy, you're a pussy, for one. And for 2, dude, this is not going to cost you much. Your life is priceless. With this, the plate bags, with the cummerbund, with the plates, you're not spending a whole lot of money. This was $50 some odd. The plates were $250 or about $300. And then the plate bags themselves, I can't really remember how much those are. So I'm gonna throw an arbitrary number out there and say like $200. You're spending $500-600 on equipment that literally saves your life. The medical bills might be worth it. I'm telling you that much. Now, it is not necessarily up to me to tell you how to set your stuff up. That is up to you. Which is why I showed you a slick version for those of you who are not interested in all the knickknacks. And I broke this entire thing down, piece by piece, to give you guys an idea of why I use the things that I do, what those items are used for generally, and the considerations I have made when building this out. This is still a work in progress. There are many things that I want to add to this as time goes on and as, I'm able to afford it. But as it stands right now, this is probably my preferred setup that I've had of all the setups that I had. And it serves me great. And I am and I am not looking forward to having to throw this on. And that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I want to give you guys a big thank you ahead of time for liking, commenting, sharing this video, and of course, subscribing to the channel. It means the world to me. Please, before I go, please make sure, drink water, go outside, touch grass, put down your phone, and do your research. This has been Valkyrie Research, and I will catch you guys next time.